freaking first cut. Golly.
Well, welcome to the First Cup Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mega preview pod for this week's FedEx St. Jude Championship, the very first leg of the FedEx Cup Playoffs. It's storylines, it's best bets, and it is, of course, the one and done. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick.
What's going on, guys? I'm excited for the postseason, excited for the top 50 cutoff, and I'm excited to announce I got snubbed. I guess we all did technically from the Creator Classic the day before the Tour Championship. I'm pretty upset. None of us were even asked.
Well, I withdrew my name from consideration, so really just you were snubbed.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Well, I'm boycotting it.
Rick pulled a Kuchar.
Yeah, it's like when Michael Scott doesn't get the promotion in The Office, and he says, "Well, I withdrew my name from consideration." Like, yeah, me too. I did too. Exactly. Kyle Porter is here. Hello, KP.
Hey, yeah, but great week. First day of school for the kids. We're doing public school this year, which is yeah, I felt like I was on vacation today. It's incredible.
Whoa. Yeah, okay. That's gotta be all of them are now in public school.
Everybody, yeah.
Wow.
All right.
My wife and I went out to lunch. It was incredible.
Wow.
What grades are we rocking with?
I was living that Rick Gehman life.
Oh, it's the best. It's just the best.
5th, 2nd, and 2/5, a second, and a kinder.
Okay.
2/5 a second. That's the other end of a trade for
and a player to be named later.
And a kinder sounds like a Friday night too.
There you go.
Yeah. Maybe that might be the Patrick end of things. Didn't even pick up on that. So yeah, it's been a great day. They're probably gonna fall asleep here in about an hour, so I'll be rested for the St. Jude. Fired up.
I love it. Well, we are ready to rock and roll. We do have to put a little bit of a recap on last week. Things got sideways with all the weather and such, but we did not get a chance to properly give Lydia Ko her due, Patrick. We talked about this earlier in the week. We talked about it on last Tuesday's preview pod, talking about the idea of her being able to complete the perfect podium, the elemental sweep, I think I saw somebody call it on Twitter. Whatever the official name is, it gold, silver, and bronze in the last 3 Olympics, the only 3 Olympics in the modern history of the sport. We talked about the possibility of that happening. She made it come true.
The perfect podium. I like that one. I saw the trilogy, the trifecta, pretty much like try anything was in relation to Lydia Ko. But yeah, going 3 for 3 in the Olympics, signing off that way, saying this is going to be her last Olympics is pretty baller. And then to do that, win gold, then also qualify for the Hall of Fame all before the age of 28. She's 27 right now. Is hard for me to wrap my mind around. And we kind of mentioned it with the possibility of Xander Schauffele going back-to-back for gold medals. But, I mean, there's a real possibility no one really touches something like this for a while, winning 3 straight medals, a bronze, a silver, and a gold. And so it's really impressive for what has been an impressive career for someone who, I mean, she gives me like Perry Ellis vibes. She's been around forever, just forever, really ever since I started watching golf. Lydia Ko has been on the screen. So kudos to her.
I think at this point she's been a professional golfer just as long as she's not been a professional golfer, I believe, or at least close when you look at her turning pro as a teenager. She's 27. She's got 28 professional wins, KP. She's been the #1 player in the world. It's kind of crazy to think that she won't be doing it again in 4 years. I don't know. I'm not ready. I think in 2028, Riviera, she gets a chance to potentially add another medal to the collection. I think we could get her back in.
Yeah, that would be very cool. I think the Lydia Costa in women's golf is so interesting to me because the way that she talks, she sounds like she's like 50, right? And I think she's been in that like pro grind for so long that it probably feels like she's to her that she's 50. It's just such a different thing than you get in. I don't know. It feels almost like a gymnastics thing or like something where you get these like super young talents that are just exhausted by the time they get to age 30. And we're not really accustomed to that in men's golf as much. I don't know if I have a great reason for that, but she's been extraordinary. And I think that to get into, I mean, only 35 women are in the LPGA Hall of Fame. 35. I wouldn't look this up. There's like, I've got it right here. So that's comparable to, let's see, 500 homers in Major League Baseball. There's been 28 people to do that. The NBA's 25,000 point club, 25 members. Men's golf. So here's a good men's golf comp. 29 golfers have won at least 4 majors. And then in women's golf, 35 women have ever hit all the criteria needed to get into the LPGA Hall of Fame. So it's an extraordinary achievement. And I think the thing that I can almost promise will never be repeated, maybe in addition to the 3 medals, is winning a gold to get into the Hall of Fame. Because of the way like all that plays out and how infrequently the Olympics are played, like that's never going to happen again. And I thought it was really cool for her to say like, hey, this is a fairy tale. This is truly a fairy tale for me. And I feel like Cinderella having made the Hall of Fame on a gold medal. I thought that was awesome.
It's not like a walk off. It's like a sick walk into the Hall of Fame moment.
Yeah. And I think even more so because she had gotten a ton of questions about it. And it was kind of like, she was frustrated by it. She was annoyed by the questions that she was getting. She said on Thursday and Friday, like, I want to get it so that I don't have to answer these questions anymore. You're like, I understand. Like I got you. So it was very cool to see her do that.
Yeah, she's in the LPGA Hall of Fame. She's got a collection of medals at home. It is very, very cool stuff. The bigger men's storyline, or the storyline on the men's side, I should say, is the FedEx Cup playoffs here, Patrick. And for the second year, we're down to just 70 for the first leg. And I don't think we've ever seen the guy at the top of the FedEx Cup standings with as big of a lead as he has, and then really the top 2 separating themselves from the rest of the field. Obviously, I'm referring to Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele. These 2 guys are leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else in the standings for now, because those points are about to get quadrupled.
Yes, and it's interesting. Ever since the transition to the staggered start at East Lake, the number 1 player from the regular season has yet to win. And going back since
how many is that? 4, 3,
5.
5. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
How many times did the number 1 points guy win the FedEx Cup before we went to the staggered start?
Tiger Woods 2007, Tiger Woods 2009, Jordan Spieth 2015. That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Wow.
And only 2 outside the top 30. It was Rory in 16 and Billy Horschel in 14.
Billy, I looked this up today. He was 82nd after the first playoff event. Now, there were 4 back then, so it'd kind of be like being 82nd right now if 82 got in. But that's crazy to win from that position. He went on a T2 win-win run. My question, Patrick, is how many, you might not have this in front of you, but how many guys that have started at 10 under at Eastlake have gone on to win in those 5 instances of the staggered start?
So let's see. It started in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Was Rory number 1 heading into Eastlake?
No, I thought Rory's 3. He was, or I thought I thought he came. One of them he was 5 back. One of them I think he was 6 back.
Let's see.
I think there's only been one who has won it from the 10 under spot. DJ.
Rom? DJ. Yeah.
Rory started at 5 under.
Mm-hmm.
DJ in 2020?
DJ in 2020. Cantlay was top guy in 2021 because he won the BMW Championship. 2022 was Rory. Scottie was number 1. And then 23 was Hovland and Scottie was number 1.
So 2. So DJ and Cantlay won it from the 10 under spot.
I believe so. Yes.
That's interesting.
So what that all of that sounds like to me is you just got to get hot right now. It's like the hottest guy for the next 3 weeks is going to win the FedEx Cup, no matter where you start.
Yeah, pretty much. And if you have a good history at East, like Rory does, like Xander Schauffele does, and guess what? They just happen to be 2 and 3 right behind Scheffler. If they maintain or honestly lose just a little bit of ground, they're going to be very live, just given how well they play that golf course. But I am interested to see how it looks, especially after what they've done to it.
I'm surprised with those numbers, quite honestly. I would have thought it would have been a better conversion rate for the guys at the top. Interesting. Okay, well, the good news for guys like Rory McIlroy and KP, you have an article up on CBSSports.com right now. Things to watch for in the 2024 FedEx Cup Playoffs. One of the storylines that you have is the already historic nature of Rory at this event. Potentially, if he could pull it off again, would be the 4th time he's won the FedEx Cup. By the way, no one's ever won it here. He's the only guy who's ever won it 3 times.
Yeah, and I think the Rory thing is it's weird, right? Because he keeps racking up these achievements that people are like, yeah, but when's the last major? Yeah, but when's the and so you're like, I don't really know how to. I think if he wins another major, it'll again be a magnifying glass on all these others. I mean, he's won the race to Dubai, Rick, 5 times. He's won the FedEx Cup 3 times. Nobody else has won it more than Tiger has 2. Nobody else has more than 1. And so if he wins it again for a 4th time, it's not a major. I get it, but it's also not nothing. It's a signal of like, hey, you're kind of it's the thing that we always talk about of like, hey, if you played 10,000 holes, guess what? Rory's going to win or whatever, Scheffler. And this is like the best facsimile that we have for that. The season-long deal. Now, the playoffs are a little, it throws kind of a wrench into that scenario, but I think it's just a sign of his consistency at the highest level. But I mean, the Scottie Xander thing being ahead of him, I did the math, Rick. If you probably did this too, but if let's say Morikawa, who's what 4th, I think,
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Morikawa wins the first 2 events, not finishes like he wins the Memphis and the BMW. All Scottie has to do is finish like T8, T9, and he's still ahead of Colin Morikawa.
Right.
Like the lead that him and Xander have is going to be almost insurmountable unless you win both of those first 2.
And there are only so many guys that even if they do win the first 2, could even mathematically catch Scottie at all or Xander at all. I mean, once you get to Hideki, who is 8th, if Hideki, who is 8th in the season-long standings, wins each of the first 2 playoff events, he will still be behind Scottie, even if Scottie withdraws from the first 2.
Patrick, has anybody come from outside the like 5 under to win the Tour Championship in the last 5 years?
Rory was 5 and 19,
but I think he was.
I think 22.
Yes,
he triple bogeyed early and dropped to 1 under. I want to say.
Well, I thought
started
Rory
at 4 under.
Yes, I was going to say he started. That was the deepest one.
So
Rory has the two deepest wins, I believe.
So you need to be 4 under or better. How many? What is that? Like the top 8 or something? 10?
No, it's not even that many. I don't think, is it?
7?
I had this up the other day. FedEx Cup starting strokes. All right. So 10 under, 8 under, 7 under is third, 6 under is fourth, 5 under is fifth. Okay, you're right, KP, because there's a bunch. So top 10, because 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all going to start at 4 under.
So if you're not in the top 10 after the first 2 events is kind of what I'm getting at, and probably the top 5, honestly, we'll see you. You're not winning the FedEx Cup. Like, you're just not.
Yeah,
I will
unless your name
say
is
last
Rory
year, Colin Morikawa shot what? 10 under the first day or 9 under? He was like 1 under, and he was leading after the first day alongside Hovland.
Yeah, but it's unsustainable.
Yeah, they're already being spotted a 5th round. You're basically it's a 5-round tournament. You're already spotted
a good 5th round.
Right.
Okay. So my point being, like, if you're a Cantlay, Sung Jae, Hideki, like, you better do some work these first 2 weeks, or you're just gonna be just behind the 8 ball at East Lake.
Well, that's the interesting. I think that's the interesting thing here, because the battle for third, the battle to be 8 under, or 7 under, or 6 under is wide open.
I agree.
Right? Rory's at 25-45 in terms of points. Sahith, who is in 7th, is 2,037. So he's within 500. The way that those spots shake out, forget about catching the top 2. The way that those two, or those the next 10 guys go into spots 3 through 13 is going to be huge on your chances to win.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's some value to be had there. And I'll talk about this later when we get to our picks, but I think there's some value to be had of, like, okay, are Xander or Scottie probably going to win the FedEx Cup? Absolutely. But I think you can find value in guys that are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 right now, because at East Lake, they're going to be like 7 under, right? Like, one of those guys is. I don't know who it is, but if somebody like a Sung Jae can play really well these first 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he might be in 3rd place behind Scottie and Xander. Well,
that's the thing. So how about this, Patrick? Like, Scottie and Xander go 1-2, 1-2 in each of the first 2, and they just are even more head and shoulders above what they are right now. It's not going to translate to any more of a lead. It's going to be the guy is in first has a 2-shot lead. The guy in second is 2 back and has a 1-shot lead on third. It's not going to translate. So I actually am now getting excited about who's going to finish 3 through 10 here.
Yeah.
Well, it's the playoffs, right? It's like the undefeated Patriots. They're the best team far and away for the first, the entire regular season, for most of the postseason, and then they run into Eli Manning and Plexico Burress in the Super Bowl. And who knows? Maybe that could be who's got maybe like a Sahith. Someone just wild from the hip, firing from the hip, a la Plexico.
I was gonna say, and it's golf. You might just shoot yourself in the leg at some point.
Yeah.
Yikes. What's Plex up to? What's he doing these days?
Oh man, I bet you he is. Well, let's find out.
Is he like in a front office somewhere or something?
No, no way.
How would we find this out?
Maybe
he was great with the Steelers.
Did you get to Michigan State, Patrick?
He did.
He was awesome.
Good call.
They had such a run of great. Was it Michigan State that had great receivers for a long time?
Who else are you thinking of? Braylon Edwards?
No, he was Michigan.
Yeah, he was.
What's Plex up to, Rick?
Well, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he did sign on at New York Sports Night on Sportsnet, and he was an analyst, but that was 10 years ago.
Okay. This is the first headline I get is Plexico Burress sees no future at quarterback for Steelers with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. That's just not what I need right now.
I was thinking of Charles Rogers, by the way. He's probably before your time. Charles Rogers, Andre Rison went to Michigan State. Plax. I wonder if producer Josh thought we'd be going down a list of Michigan State wide receivers on this podcast.
This is pretty cool. Jerome Bettis Plexico, and Ike Taylor, who good friend of mine. Their sons have all committed to play football at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that I saw that one. I believe he's an analyst for SF1.
Okay.
Is I believe the most recent. Yeah, because he did something at least a couple of months ago about the Chiefs. Yeah, I think he's the seems to be the co-host of Fox Sports Radio's National Weekend Show. And I think he's
Awesome.
I think he's a Potter. He's one of us.
Sure,
Oh.
everybody is.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Get involved.
Patrick, who has more Twitter followers, Plaxico Burress or Kyle Porter?
KP.
You think?
Yeah.
No way.
Plaxico, you know who Plaxico Burress is, right?
Yeah. KP.
Plaxico was kind of famous before.
He probably has I'm thinking
before Twitter
70-ish.
Yeah, no, Patrick's right. He has 29,000.
Okay.
Kyle has 178,000.
Wow.
He hasn't tweeted since
January
2000. Yeah, 2023 about Josh Dobbs.
What a rabbit hole.
Oh boy. Interesting. Okay.
Hashtag Aaron Rodgers rule. Yeah. He hasn't been in the game for a while.
No, he has not. But we're in the game and the playoffs are here. We are going to talk about TPC Southwind. We are going to look at those spots a little bit farther back because listen, you got to get in. You got to get in to the BMW Championship if you want to have a spot at the table at Eastlake. We're going to talk about that, give out the bets, give out the one and done selections. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Plaxico Burress will be at NYC Fanatics Fest for, I guess we sign autographs, taking pictures. If you want to get your picture taken with him. He's much more active on Instagram. That's probably where we.
Ooh, I thought you were going to
see
say the Creators Classic. He was going to be in that too.
Nope. Did not
awesome.
make the cut there. He was last man out of the Creators Classic. So unfortunately, he will not be there. TPC Southwind. And boys, we've got a little bit of an issue for our reigning FedEx Cup champion, Viktor Hovland. He is 57th in the FedEx Cup standings. 50 gets into the BMW Championship. Patrick, you tweeted out a video from his presser. That was today. Is that right?
Today.
Of really what has gone wrong with the swing. And he gave us some really good insight about the shape of his ball and the way that he wants it to look. And he said he kind of ruined the pattern that he had. And now he's trying to get back to that. He just working to get back to it.
Yeah. And he's the type of guy who doesn't like to play while going through this process. And you look at his schedule in 2024, it is almost kind of impressive that he has a chance to be inside the top 50 because he's only played 13 PGA Tour events this season, the 4 majors, the signature events, and then the Scottish Open. That's all that he has played, and obviously buoyed by the podium finish at the PGA Championship, but outside that, without a top 10 finish. And so short game obviously takes the brunt of it. He's 175 out of 176 in terms of strokes gained around the green on the PGA Tour. Shout out to Paul Barjon. But you look at
175.
175.
What? Okay.
That's not a swing thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you combine that with career lows on approach also. He's career lows in terms of total strokes gained. And it's just been an ugly season. And so you can work on it outside the ropes as much as possible. But I think if I could have seen something different from him in 2024, I wish he would have dug it out of the dirt in competition.
It is interesting. And I do know there are a lot of things. This was kind of the conversation in like 2022, where a lot of the things that he does so well in his long game don't help in the short game. So I do wonder if there are kind of checkpoints that are all out of whack. Josh actually has the video here. So KP, before we get your thoughts on this, we've got the Viktor comment.
So I don't want to get like super technical with this, but basically my pattern got off. The things that I did in my swing that made me good, that made me able to predict a certain ball flight. I went home and tried to do a certain move, not necessarily because I had in mind that I wanted to change my pattern. I knew my pattern was really good, but I was upset that I wasn't cutting the ball as much as I would have liked. My ball flight started to become a little bit of a draw, which is fine. I was still hitting it good, but sometimes visually I would have liked to see the cut. And then in the off season, I made a conscious effort to try to cut the ball more. And when I did that, I ruined a relationship that happens in my swing that makes it really difficult for me to control the face coming down. And so now it's just kind of me learning from that. I know exactly why it happened. I know exactly what happens because I've gotten myself measured. And now it's just kind of a process of getting back to where I was. But at least I know I have all the data and the facts on the table to go about it.
A very transparent Viktor Hovland there, KP. I mean, it sounds like a lot of things in not only golf, but in life, you try to improve on something, it goes sideways, and now you're stuck in this rabbit hole that you don't want to be in.
Yeah. It's hilarious that he talks about he was speaking about a relationship as if he is like in one with his clubs, which was quite funny.
I ruined it.
Story. Yeah, exactly. I
went home and I ruined it.
my wife came up to my office today to ask me something, and I had this video like pretty loud, and she was like, "Is this what you do out here all day?" And I was like, I mean, literally my job. Like, what do you want from me? And I was like, I'll give you $100 if you can tell me who this is. She didn't see the video. She was just hearing. I think he's got a pretty distinct, like, accent and voice. And she goes, Brandel Chambly? Is that somebody?
Is that somebody?
I was like, well, it is. But no, that's Viktor Hovland. I was glad that Patrick tweeted this out. Somebody commented that I don't know if you saw this, Patrick, but somebody commented under the video and said, "This is me explaining to the Top Golf waitress why I can't hit any of the targets at Top Golf."
Yeah.
Which was so funny. But I thought it was, Rick, I thought it was some of the best insight I've ever heard from a player about their swing. Usually get a bunch of nonsense or a bunch of non-answer or just garbage. And I thought it was like very honest, very simple to understand for idiots like me. And kind of transparent. Like, I appreciate it. Reminded me of Martin Keimer. Remember when Keimer tried to hit, was it the other? Yeah, he was trying to learn a draw to play Augusta, and it just went sideways, and he was number one in the world. And it's never fails. These guys that get to the top, whether it's FedEx Cup, number one in the world, whatever, they're like, I just got to fix this one thing. And then it just goes badly. And it's a bummer. I wish Hovland was playing better. I think he'll get it back. I think he'll be fine. I think he's a much bigger and better talent than Martin Keimer was or is. But yeah, I found it to be very refreshing the way that he shared that information.
Yeah, usually it's just, well, I'm close, or I'm, this, that, or the other thing. This was, here's what was good. Here's how it went south, and I'm working on getting it back. And very few work harder than Viktor does. That top 50 line, though, is not just alone with Viktor on the outside looking in, Patrick. Justin Rose, who's had a pretty good year, is sitting 55th. Minwoo Lee, who, we would like to see contending and being a big time PGA Tour star is 63rd. He could punch his ticket to all the signature events. Jordan Spieth is 64th. We kind of see the trajectory that this season has had for him. And then Nick Dunlap, thanks to only getting some of the points for 2 of his wins this year, is 68th. So all of those guys have to improve their position if they want to get into the BMW Championship next week.
I think for Jordan, he's obviously the biggest name here, but I think he's got to take a page out of Joe Biden's book and kind of just step aside, exit stage left.
I didn't say
not only for the top 50. I mean, he's going to get in for sponsors exemptions. We all know how we feel about those. It's just the reality of the situation. But not for also the President's Cup, ironically, just needs to step aside, get some younger blood in there.
Oh, the President's
Cup. So I think someone who might be at the President's Cup, probably will be, is Min-Woo Lee. He's the name I have circled. And like you mentioned, Rick, a young talent that draws a lot of young fans through social media and with his game. He would be great in all those big time signature events. So he's the name I have circled, and Nick Dunlap as well. But outside that, it's a bunch of like Patrick Rogers is right there, Ben Griffin, Taylor Moore, Peter Malnati. Good players, sure, nothing against them, but Min-Woo Lee, Nick Dunlap inside the top 50 in lieu of some of those guys, I think would go a long way.
I'll tell you what, KP, and we can move on after this, but there's a scenario. So I'm making up a scenario here, but it's based in fact. Matt Fitzpatrick's 40th. I don't think he's safe because of the way that the points are quadrupled. So you have Matt Fitzpatrick at 40, Zalatoris at 49. We've already talked about Viktor and Spieth being on the outside. There's a chance that if before the season you told me Matt Fitzpatrick, Will Zalatoris, Viktor Hovland, and Jordan Spieth are not even going to make the BMW Championship, I would have laid like any amount of money on that being true. And I don't think we're that far away from that happening.
And then what if I told you that Nick Dunlap would actually be the most disappointing out of that group that didn't make it? You'd be like, what happened?
I know. How long was I in this coma for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't think 40 is safe? Well, like what do you
probably is, but I'm thinking so the gap between 51 is 969 and 40 is it's only 100 and something points. So what would what's like an 8th place finish going to be worth with quadruple points?
400, I don't know. Like FedEx, 300, 400.
FedEx Cup point distribution. All right. So 8th would be 340. So really 100-point gap. That's 32nd is 100th. So if Fitzpatrick, like he withdrew with a thumb injury from the Olympics, if he conceivably withdraws or finishes dead last, 10 guys have to finish inside the top 30 to pass him. Like the 10 right behind in a 70 player. It's not inconceivable.
Yeah. What's your over? I was actually going to ask you this. What's your over under for like change from the top, like inside outside the top 50? Because we went into last week at the Wyndham and you're like, not you, but people are like, there's, I don't know, like a couple of guys might switch, but this one feels more volatile. It is more volatile, right? Because there's more points,
right? Because the amount of points, the gap between the players, especially on that bubble, is already small and significantly smaller when we just quadruple the points, right?
So like 5.5, 7.5 over under.
Yeah, I think it's probably even. I mean, it's pretty tight at the bottom of this. I 7.5.
Yeah, that seems right. Man, not to bang this drum. This would be sick if the guys outside the 50 like didn't get to play on the PGA Tour next year. Like you don't get a lifetime exemption. You don't get a top 30 in the world exemption. You don't get, hey, you won last year exemption. You weren't in the top 50.
So you want every year you have to earn your job every year.
Yeah, I mean, if well, I don't know if that's actually what I want. What I hate is that there's this weird like fake relegation where it's like if you're going to do relegation, like it's not like the Premier League's like, well, you know, Arsenal, like they've been good they've made a bunch of money over the years, so they should be in the league. No, they finished 18th. I think Arsenal might be winning the Premier League, so I'm just saying names, but or they might have won the Premier League. So they pick a side, like either have relegation or don't have it. I just think it would be fascinating if we were talking about this, like not as like, oh, well, they're not going to get to play the BMW, but oh, they're not going to be on the PGA Tour next year because these 25 guys are taking their spot.
I think I would be okay with this. I think I'd be all in on this, but I think there would have to be like a one-time, if you did something, I don't know what that something is. You won last year. You could cash in like your one time.
Get out
like
of jail.
Like Zalatoris gets hurt for a whole year. What's he going to do? Go down to the Corn Ferry Tour and play a year down there? Yeah, like a one-time get out of jail free card.
So, I mean, guys get hurt on, you know, soccer teams. They get relegated.
But they don't get the guy gets to come back to the team that is still in the same spot. That if Aaron Judge gets hurt, the Yankees are not dropping down to AAA.
That'd be sick if they did.
LeBron load management. Sorry, bud, you're in the G League now.
Right.
That would also be sick. I don't even know if I believe what I'm saying. I just hate that they have kind of faked their way to this like weird middle ground of like, oh man, we're the meritocracy. And it's like, kind of, I mean, I guess like compared to Live, everything's a meritocracy, but it's not, you know, it's like, you're kind of halfway there.
It is interesting.
Right?
Yeah. Especially because there's going to be a lot of guys that even if they don't make the BMW championship, they're going to be like, okay, I had a great year. And now even if I'm 68th, I can improve my position in the fall if I want, or if I'm cool enough or a star enough, I'm going to get into those signature events anyway. So like, what do I really care?
Which is, and I get it. You got to have I get the whole deal. And you would almost have to make it where you couldn't choose your schedule. Like you wouldn't, because guys would start playing 39 times a year.
Yeah.
And that would make the product, I think, worse because everybody would be exhausted. You'd have to say like, hey, here's our 16 events.
That would be so sick if they couldn't choose their schedule. That'd be so sick.
I know.
And it rotated, right? That's what we wanted. When they announced signature events, we said, okay, then there needs to be a schedule release night. And every year they announce the 4 this year. Dun, 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 drum roll, please. Travelers, Wells Fargo, John Deere, the 3M, right? And it rotates. And you know, the 3M knows they're getting the best players in the world every 4 years or something like that, right? And that would be so sick. And then you get all the guys playing the same events, don't get to choose your schedule.
Yeah. Sorry. Show up. Learn how to hit a cut.
Learn how to hit a cut. All right.
Wait till they put us in charge, right?
Yeah, that'll be the day. Professional golf will be in ruin by the time we get in charge.
For sure. But at least we will have tried some things.
All right. I did some math while you guys were talking.
Thank God.
37, top 37 are guaranteed for next week at the BMW.
So that's Adam Hadwin, last man in.
And then the top 13 should be good for the Tour Championship.
That's Russell Henley. He's in.
Boy.
Oh,
I need to save him for Eastlake.
Oh, yeah. I was looking through my options this week and it was not pretty.
No.
I'm gonna need Bryce Garnett to get hot for me. Billy Horschel levels of
I got
hot.
some news for you, Rick.
Yeah. He gone. All right, we will turn our attention to the bets and we will release those one and done selections. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
And we're back. Who do you think the favorite is, Patrick, to win the Creator Classic?
They have betting odds?
Oh, I doubt it. Well, maybe somewhere, maybe an offshore will do it.
Is the what's the guy's name? Horvat.
I'm gonna say Mark Immelman. He's the favorite since he's on the call.
Mark is on the call.
Yeah.
Do you think Mark has watched any of these videos on the YouTube?
No.
On the YouTube.
I'll say Grant Horvat. Probably Wesley Bryan.
Wesley's got to be the favorite.
Yeah.
Grant's not even playing, by the way.
Oh,
Grant's not.
I just presumed if it's a Creator Classic.
Well, I will tell you that people are
none of the big ones are playing.
Grant is the one that most people are like, how did you not get Grant in this?
Really?
Also, no Bryson DeChambeau.
I saw.
Well, he's not a PGA Tour member like John Rahm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now
is Rahm still saying that?
I don't think he's ever backtracked from it.
But is he said it recent? I thought he said it like early in the year.
He said it at the U.S. Open. It was pretty recent.
Okay.
Yeah. Wesley has played on the PGA Tour this year, and he's a winner. Yeah. He has to destroy these guys. I don't know what the format's going to be, but he should destroy these guys.
I've been to the Tour Championship on a Wednesday. It is not an electric place.
Well, wait till Fat Perez gets there.
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just, I don't know. It seems like there's a better. I mean, I don't want to be critical of this because I appreciate like trying things, but that is not the venue and the crowd for it.
So you're thinking Wednesday of Phoenix would have been a better opportunity.
Yes.
Get him in the arena.
Oh man. Yeah. Just play that. Like, yeah. Yes. But look, again, like I don't want to be critical of this because we just got done yelling about how they don't try things and it's trying something. Like if it doesn't work, fine. Like you just try.
Just try. That is a good lesson for everyone. Now, we are going to talk about some wagers for this week. It's a pretty diverse board. We've got a lot of different things covered here. And if you've never seen how we do this before, Josh gives us $100 and we allocate it onto a matchup for 50, a finishing position of our choice for 30, and then 2 outrights at $10 each. Now, Josh, please show everyone the grid. Thank you very kindly. Patrick, I would like to start with your matchup, please. And you are taking a medalist. Who is it and what is it?
Yes, I'm going with Thomas Fleetwood -105 over Ludwig Oberg. Tommy's been very consistent this year. Obviously had the second place at the Olympics, playing good golf. He's played well here in the past, including last year. Ludwig, can a rookie quarterback win in the playoffs? Who knows? We're going to find out this week with Ludwig.
Those Texas Tech guys, system quarterbacks too.
Yeah, system quarterbacks. And, Will Gray put out a tweet following the Scottish Open about how he hasn't broken 70 since in the final round since Sunday at the Masters. And he didn't break 70 at the Olympics, kind of backtracked there, missed the cut at the Open too. And so it's the driver hasn't been as good as we have seen from Ludwig recently, and the short game's kind of been a little ugly. So I'm gonna go with Tommy instead at -105.
Does Ludwig stink?
I think he can't win the big one. 0 for 4 in majors.
In all seriousness, I think it's a how when guys get to the NBA and they hit like April and they're like, oh, I used to play 30 games a year and now I'm playing 80. I think that's a lot of this. Like this schedule is it's very different than being in the Big 12. I think it's just easy to forget that Ludwig was like, he's been a pro for like 14 months and he's never played this schedule before.
And it's also with the Olympics and with everything else, like the year of the busiest schedule that he could have gotten. Ryder Cup year, then roll it right into an Olympic year. It's like as busy and as much travel as he could have ever possibly done. I'm going with Justin Thomas. He has won at this golf course before over Shane Lowry. I'm going down with the ship on Justin Thomas, and hopefully I only have to, be interested in him for the next couple of weeks, and then I can figure something else out. I think he's close enough to still being an elite iron player. I think he's got plenty of good vibes around here, and I have no idea how he's going to putt. But Shane Lowry coming off the missed cut, I'll take JT minus 120 over Lowry. And then KP, you actually found us a 3-ball. What'd you get?
Yeah, I'm picking on Ludwig as well. I've got Cantlay over Ludwig and Colin Morikawa. Cantlay's been kind of good recently. T3 at the US Open, T5 at the Travelers, T25 at the Open Championship. And he finished top 5, top 6, something like that here last year at Memphis. So I like the way he's playing, and that's a pretty long number, I feel like, for the way that he's been playing recently.
Yeah, it is plus 225 over Ludwig and Morikawa. Finishing positions, I've declared Eric Cole as back, and I will put my money where my mouth is. Another top 10 finish for him last week. He's gaining throughout the entire bag, and he is plus 260 to finish inside the top 20, not 10, top 20 for Eric Cole. It is time to print some money. KP, your turn, please.
Yeah, Cantlay finished second here last year, by the way. Do we know who won?
Last year,
Cantlay hit in the water in the playoff against
Lucas Glover, back-to-back.
Oh, Glover. That's right.
The sweat scene. Had to ice the hands.
Who could forget? Oh, my gosh.
I forgot the icing of the hands.
He went full Robert Garrigus with the pants, too.
Yeah, that was incredible. I've got Sahith top 10. Sahith's playing good golf. He's the guy that I think finished T6 last year. Plus 300. I think Sahith could make a little noise in the playoffs. Might be a one to watch for to make a run to the conference championships, Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Well, plus 300 if he finishes inside the top 10. I would give Lucas Glover more flack, Patrick, but I played Pinehurst number 10 last week. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the scorecard in my back pocket, and I was sweating through the scorecard. I had to put it in my bag. It was so hot and humid, that's nasty. So any other week I'd be giving Lucas Glover a little bit more flack, but I'm feeling his pain this time around. Patrick, you have opted for a mainstay in the playoffs to finish on the first page of the leaderboard. What'd you get?
Yes, I went with Rory McIlroy, top 10 at plus 110. He's playing really good golf. He has 4 top 5s in his last 6, and I think people don't really realize how close he was to. I mean, he could have easily won the gold medal, to tell you the truth. Before that wet shot into 15, he was right there when Rahm was collapsing. Hit the ball great at Le Golf National, and he's played well here in the past also. I think he was a stroke outside that playoff last year. So I'm going to go with Rory at plus 110 for a top 10.
Eric Cole, top 20. Sahith, top 20. Rory, top 10. Excuse me, that Sahith number was top 10. My apologies. For the finishing positions. Now, 2 separate outrights. Patrick, I'm going to bounce this right back to you. You have a golfer at 35-1 and a golfer at 40-1. What do you have?
Yes, I went with Sung J M at 40-1 before. I think he finished like T40 last week, T41, kind of fell off the pace. But before that, had a string of top 12 finishes, has played well here in the past. And so I'm going to ride with Sung J, and then 2 words, Russell Henley. 35-1. All you need to know. Next question.
There's more than 2 words, but we'll give it to you.
2 words. Russell Henley is going to win this golf tournament.
I'll keep it going real quick, Rick. I've got Russell Henley as well. Most underrated player in the world right now.
Yes.
Patrick did not pay me to say that. I just think that he is. And then I've got Cantlay at 22. you'll see this again in a second. I love Cantlay right now. I feel like he is just way flying under the radar. It hasn't been like a banner year for him, but man, his top level of golf, especially at non-majors, is just it's still very high, and I feel like he's a little longer than he should be on some of these bets right now.
Yeah, he's a little lurky. He's lurking down there. He's scary. Cantlay and Henley for KP. I went with Hideki, 25-1. Tony Finau, 35-1. Finau fixed the putter. If he's going to do that, it's gives him a chance every single week. And speaking similar to Cantlay, like Cantlay's best is very, very good. Hideki's best is very, very good. And both those guys can win a lot of golf tournaments. And I also thought the number on Hideki, fresh off his bronze medal, was a little bit too long. So I took Hideki at 25-1 on a golf course that kind of asks you to be a pretty darn good ball striker. So that's Hideki. 2 votes for Henley, Finau, Cantlay, and Sungjae Im on the betting card. And then Josh gives us a little bit of funny money, and we get an extra $50 to put on anything that we want. And we have found a wide variety of selections. I'm going to get out of the way. Scottie Scheffler does not make bogeys. In fact, he is on a historically low bogey avoidance rate, sub 10%. We never see anything like that. Scottie Scheffler to go bogey free in the first round, 4-1. Patrick, on brand and crushing it. You are our leader. You are our leader. What have you chosen this week?
Scottie Scheffler to win at 3.5-1. I wonder if we could parlay ours together, Rick. That would be fun. But unfortunately, I don't think I was on the show for the Olympics, so we didn't get the money there, which is a bummer. So we got to make it up this week at the St. Jude. And Scottie wins number 8. He'll win number 9 next week, and then number 10 at the Tour Championship.
That's actually sick to think about. And then KP, you have gone wild, and you have given us one of the most interesting best bets that we have seen so far this year. What have you selected?
Yeah, I'm trying to make it. I'm swinging for the fences, trying to make it all back in one bet here. You and I need help. We are struggling.
Horrible.
And I'm trying to make it up for both of us. I've got Patrick Cantlay to win the FedEx Cup at 50-1. This is basically a bet, Rick, that he's going to be in that third position going into the Tour Championship. I don't know that he can catch Xander or Scottie going into the Tour Championship, but if he can get into third and start at, 7 under, he's not going to be 50-1 then. So you're kind of betting on these first 2 events, like finding some value there for him to have good finishing positions and bump up to 3rd or 4th in the standings.
I mean, it is kind of sick, right? I guess I have not given it as much attention as I probably should have the last couple of weeks. There's like 15 guys that could be within 3 shots of the lead at Eastlake, and then it's wide open.
Yeah, and Cantlay doesn't have a ton of work to do. He's in that group. I think he's 11th in the FedEx Cup, 7th. I don't know, something like that. He's 11th. Okay, so it's Sahis 7th, Hideki 8, Sungjae 9, Shane Lowry 10, and then Cantlay Benny on is 12th.
Wow.
Russell Henley, Finau, and Akshay is 15th. So those are guys that are very intriguing as it relates to moving into that 3rd spot, going to the Tour Championship.
Yeah, I think now's not a bad time to get down some FedEx Cup futures, indeed. And KP went with Patrick Cantlay at 50-1. Just one final thing to do here, gentlemen. That's the one and done. I was saying earlier, the selections that I have left personally are not good. And you'll see that reflected here in just a moment. But Josh, if you're ready, fire away and give us, yes, there it is, the board. 8.6 million, KP. Who'd you get?
I've got Sahith. I've been talking him up. He has 2 straight top 15 finishes at this golf course. And yeah, it's lone wolf. Love the way he's playing. Love his energy. Love his history at this course. He might win by like 5.
Well, maybe he might. That is true. It is possible.
I don't know, Jim.
I don't know, Jim. Josh went with Hideki Matsuyama, also a lone wolf. Patrick, you and I have the same golfer, and I will tell you, my options were probably Tommy Fleetwood or this golfer, and I went with the guy that you're going to tell everybody about right now.
Interesting. I was between Wyndham, maybe. I still have Viktor, which might be the last time, probably the last time to use him.
Wow.
Which I don't know if it's Rick. You'd have to look this up. If we've ever had a FedEx Cup playoffs where there were no defending champions in the field for any of the events, which could be possible if Viktor doesn't make it out this week.
Wow.
But we went with the Canadian flying the Maple Leaf, Corey Connors. When thinking about this pick, I figured who was most like Russell Henley. So I went with Corey Connors.
The Canadian Russell Henley is what I call him.
There you go. Could not have said it better myself. And so that's who we went with.
He kind of is, by the way.
Yeah, very much.
Okay, I actually picked him because I thought he was like the Canadian Aaron Rye. Because Aaron Rye learned how to putt, and Corey Connors is kind of learning how to putt ever since the Canadian Open. He's been significantly better there. And obviously all three of those guys, Connors, Rye, and Henley, lots of fairways, lots of greens, a lot of flushes, a lot of what does Minwoo say? Flush. A lot of flush from those guys. So I'm hoping that, how about this, Patrick? We'll just sign up for this right now. Rye wins last week. Corey wins this week. Russell wins next week. Okay.
No, I think I'm going to need Wyndham Clark next week, personally.
I was giving you a real good situation. He's got to take a little more, don't you?
I used Russell when he missed the playoffs or the cut at the Players, unfortunately. Like, I put my entire reputation on the line, and Viktor Hovland bested him.
Yeah.
How many people, this might be a producer Josh question, but how many people have Rory left for the Tour Championship?
Out of the six of us?
Yeah.
I still got him.
I
do too.
Oh God, I do not.
What yeah, that's problematic for you, Rick.
I mean, I will tell you, I'm playing some combination of Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley the rest of the way, unless Tom Kim or Jason Day win and move up to, like, fifth in the FedEx Cup standings or something like that.
Tom Kim's interesting. He's been playing pretty good, and he's like 41st right now. He could pretty easily get into the top 10 going to Eastlake, I think.
I tend to agree with you. Well, I'll tell you that half of the overall pool has Rory left. Is that true?
How is that possible? These people are more disciplined than I gave them credit for.
I know the leader doesn't. I was doing some research today. He used of course, at Quill Hollow.
Yeah.
Or she.
Wow.
Or she.
Patrick, yeah, or she. Remember that time Coach went, you give me Paul Casey.
Coach was ahead of his time with the Sepp Straka love. Like, who's this Austrian cat that went to UGA and now he's like a Ryder Cupper?
I think about the Coach 10 times a day. Mark
it's
went
the coach.
It's the coach. Mark went with Russell Henley. Patrick, where I talked about with Corey Connors, and Greg, who is 8th overall in the big pool and beating our butts, is lone wolfing it with Justin Thomas.
That's an interesting. Doesn't he play well here?
He crushes it here, and he's won here losing strokes putting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold on. I'll look it up.
While you do that, here are the official selections. Greg, 19.3 million. Justin Thomas. Patrick, 13.8. Corey Connors. Mark, 9.9. Russell Henley. Rick, 9.4. Corey Connors. Josh, 8.8. Hideki Matsuyama. Kyle, 8.6. Sahith Thagala.
Top 5 guys in this field in terms of strokes gained at TPC Southwind. Zalatoris is number 1. He's only played two events though.
Yeah.
JT is number 2.
Rory.
Sahith is 3. He's only played 2 events. Taylor Moore is 4. He's played 2 events. Hideki, Morikawa, Rory, and Fleetwood. They've all played more events. But JT's 2, and he's played the most events out of the top 4. So.
Yeah, because he was playing it when it was a WGC. He was playing it when it was a playoff event. I think he even played it when it was a regular field event. So
that's kind of a sick pick.
Yeah, I mean, Greg is he's dialed.
I kind of love that.
Who does he have left?
God, who knows?
I
This
think
is
he
honestly
started-
our one and done kind of looks like the FedEx Cup standings.
I know the fight for third is is my prize right now.
Yeah, we need it. I feel like Greg started game planning once he kind of got up in that top 10. He started kind of gaming it out.
He's been a lot more methodical
How
the
do
past
we
couple months.
find? How do I find Josh? Oh wait, hold on. Here we go.
Rick, how was number 10?
It was sick. So
It looks amazing.
the good news is, so from what I understand, so I've not played any of the other Pinehurst courses, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But based on what the caddies were saying, what everybody else was saying, it is like fairways are wider. You're going to have more fun, but it is still going to have the Pinehurst features of like the native area and like where your ball, like I took a picture of some of the lies that I have, which is like, okay, see if you can get your club on the back of this thing.
Yeah.
And what's actually really nice is I didn't lose any golf balls. And that's not because I played amazing, but it's like you can just find everything out there. It might not be in a great lie. You might hate it, but you're going to find it. And then, I mean, as you can imagine, it was in impeccable shape. It was awesome. It was really cool.
I've been out there on 4 and 2, and the way you just described 10 is how I felt about 4. It's basically like 2, but for bad players.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not like 2. It just, what I mean by that is it's just fun. And 2's obviously cool, but it's so hard. Like it's just so hard.
Yeah.
And so I love it when there's like these like sort of facsimiles of the main course that are just easier for, guys that are not pros.
Still has all the cool like undulation and runoff spots, and the greens are, it makes you, for me, it was the US Open, right? Like, I mean, it might as well have been number 2 because it felt like it.
Yeah. That's such a cool place too. It's, if people haven't been out there, it's a resort, but it feels, you think of a resort and you think like hotels and, whatever. And it's just golf, it's just, you get inside the kind of the property and all you think about is golf. And I really like that about Pinehurst, whether you're out there playing or watching or whatever. It's a very special place.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So I got like a last minute invite. Like, hey, we have a spot tomorrow. Can you be
Sick
here?
logo too.
Oh, the best. I spent so much in the pro shop.
It's an awesome logo.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I can be there tomorrow morning. Just like tell me what time I will be there. Yeah, no problem. So it was a lot of fun. Anything else, boys?
That's it.
There he is. There he is.
If you're gonna win in Memphis, you better be icing your hands, baby. Look at his pants.
Oh, that's tough.
I feel you, Lucas. I feel you. All right. Well, we will be back. Actually, hold on a second. Big news.
Tomorrow.
What time tomorrow, Josh? 1 p.m. Eastern? I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Yes, it is. Okay. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's a network show, CBS Sports Network. We're also going to have another network show on Friday. Spoiler alert. Then, of course, round by round recaps along the way, which should be a lot of fun. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you, Josh. Patrick McDonald, available at P. McDonald CBS. You can find Kyle at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.